When you have a season winning 64 games, the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and look like one of the powerhouses to push their way through to the NBA Finals, going into next season, you should pick up right where you left off, right? Well, not really. The Cavs this season are 24-20, putting them as 7th in the East right now, and while they're only 3 games back from the 2-seeded Boston Celtics, for most of last season, they had the best record in the NBA until they started to skid later in the year. This year has just not been pretty. Back-to-back losses to the mediocre Chicago Bulls, getting beat by double digits 3 times by the Toronto Raptors, losing to the Utah Jazz on January 12th, and worst of all, getting whooped by a Warriors team with no Steph Curry and no Jimmy Butler. Now, the worst part of it all, Donovan Mitchell is having his best year of his entire career up to this point. The guy's putting up 29 points a contest, shooting nearly 49, 38, 84 splits, but still having to fight away the demons that are this team not having everyone at full strength, being one of the best scorers in basketball, one of the best 3-level guys and offensive engines. The effects of Donovan Mitchell have just not been enough for this Cavaliers squad. Before we get started on this Cavaliers team, make sure to drop a like, subscribe. I'd appreciate it a lot. We're rocking the Lonzo Ball jersey today in hopes that he can somewhat start playing like his old Bulls self. Now, with Donovan Mitchell playing at the best level of his entire career, especially considering last year he wasn't nearly relied on as heavily offensively, he actually had one of his lowest usage and scoring seasons since he was a sophomore in Utah. The guy was only averaging 24 last year. They were the best offense in basketball, and you could tell watching them on a night-to-night basis. But this year, that just hasn't exactly been the case. Now, by no means am I saying that this Cavs team is bad, but for the expectation that they have, this is just not cutting it. Donovan Mitchell is putting up the best offensive showing of his entire career, and on top of that, he's the best second half scorer in all of basketball, averaging 17.2 points a game in the second half. But with him playing so well, someone else needs to step up, and that someone else was supposed to be Evan Mobley, but unfortunately Mobley has just not been what we've been looking for. A lot of talks were of Mobley pretty much being the next Giannis, developing into that two-way dominating player, being able to own the paint both ends of the floor, and it just hasn't really been that. And in some instances, teams just know that he's not going to be aggressive enough for them to really call for a heavy defensive load on him, so they're still able to just kind of throw everyone at Donovan Mitchell. Now, when we measure Donovan Mitchell's impact, this is a pick and roll with Evan Mobley, and what may just be a great defensive play from Chet Holmgren, if you look and just see how the defense is looking at him, all 5 guys only paying attention to what Donovan Mitchell is doing, that just shows you the offensive gravity and power that he has with the ball in his hands. Here's another great example right here. Jalen Tyson is going to go ahead and set the screen for Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell gets 4 defenders on him, almost 5, just by driving in with that windmill sweep that he does. He hits it out to a wide open Evan Mobley, who doesn't knock down the 3. Now, thankfully, in replacement of that Ty Jerome signing with the Grizzlies and that Lonzo Ball trade that has not turned to be absolutely anything, they have gotten people to step up. Jalen Tyson has been one of the best stories in the NBA this year. The guy is currently playing some of the best two-way basketball for this team. He's shooting 47% from 3 this year on 4 attempts a night, and including a career-high 39 points against the Sixers, where they needed him badly. The Sixers loaded up on Donovan Mitchell, and what did he do? He hit 7 out of 9 of his threes in that game. On top of that, they've gotten some pretty good play from Naquan Tomlin. He is exactly what this team has needed the most: energy, a spark, something. Last year, Ty Jerome, they would instantly light up when he came in the game. He could extend that lead, he could get them back in games sometimes with that second unit, just from that scoring punch he'd bring. This year, they don't really have that, but Naquan Tomlin kind of does that with some of his big hustle plays, able to block a couple shots. But unfortunately, we've seen a lot that at times this year, they have not been able to really wake up, and Donovan Mitchell has become frustrated at times, but especially he's had to step up in kind of a more of a leadership role, being able to try to get his guys involved, and sometimes it just is not enough. Now, offensively, this team still has the structure to be just incredible, but on the defensive side of the ball is where things get a little shaky. They currently are the worst 3-point defense in the NBA, letting their opponents shoot a whopping 38% from 3. Now, a lot of this is due to their perimeter guards getting blown by quite a bit or targeted in actions. And when they get blown by, all this is going to do is make the entire defense have to collapse and help. We've seen at times in the recent game against the Hornets in which they won, the first half was a lot of just collapsing. LaMelo Ball drives. LaMelo had a horrible game, shooting 1 of 15. But especially in that first quarter, you got a lot of great defense from Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley both, and they were able to force the offense to take shots that they did not want to take, which is the entire goal of having an incredible defense. Part of the problem as well is that Jarrett Allen is not as good as Evan Mobley when it comes to switching out on the perimeter. So because of this, a lot of times you'll see Jarrett Allen in drop. Like in the Thunder game, we saw Chet nailing threes in the pick and pop, uncontested, and just the added icing on the cake that this team also gets outmatched in transition. Just the small guards can't really compete when they have like a 6'8" forward taking the ball down the court. You might as well just get out of the way and let them have the wide open dunk. For example, you get a play right here. Josh Green has the ball in the wing. They run a double screen to get Brandon Miller the ball up top. As you can tell, that no one on the Cavs really stepped up to try to fight through any of these screens other than Naquan Tomlin, so it was just wide open and free. But a play like this right here is when their defense looks elite. As we mentioned against the Hornets, Sion James handoff to Con Knipple. Con gets doubled, and as Sion goes up for the floater, he's blocked by the help side Jarrett Allen. Now, in all fairness to the Cavaliers, the injuries have maintained their way into this team. They have been for the past several seasons, and that's really plagued them from making a deep playoff run. Garland has been dealing with that same toe injury for the longest time. Evan Mobley has been in and out of the lineup at times in the playoffs. When you don't have 2 of your 3 best players, it is hard, especially in their offensive system, having another guy that can handle the ball, because Donovan Mitchell has been the only true constant for this inconsistent lineup, rather than when you have a guy that boom, create so many open outside looks for everyone else in the team and Darius Garland. Having Donovan Mitchell on the court but not Garland, it just makes things a lot harder. With DeAndre Hunter on the team, it has not really turned out to exactly what they wanted it to be. He has been able to hit some tough buckets here and there, but unfortunately, he's just not the exact spark that they were really looking for. When they went and bought in on him last year, it was a nice move at the time. He was averaging 19 points a game on the Hawks. When DeAndre Hunter would get to the Cavaliers, they would start off winning their first 13 games with him in the lineup in the middle of a 15-game winning streak. But since that point, they have been 28 and 25, just 3 games above 500. When he's playing well, it looks like a perfect fit, but other times he just doesn't seem to fit into that offensive system, being able to create not just for yourself, but for others, and sometimes not always looking to feed those teammates that are open. He'll drive in, he'll either turn the ball over, make a bad pass, or go up, take a contested shot instead of finding his wide open teammate on the perimeter. And unfortunately for them, this just kind of hurts their depth. They haven't exactly performed to what we thought they would. This bench just has not been what we were looking for. So far this season, they are 24th in the league for bench points per game at 32.6. They have the worst bench field goal percentage and the second worst bench 3-point percentage, 42.1% from the field, 31.6% from 3. But that also shows you that Donovan Mitchell has been a crucial part of this team. The on and off swing from when he's playing to when he's not, 122.8 offensive rating to a 109.8 13-point swing from when Donovan Mitchell leaves the court. That shows you how heavily they rely on his offense to carry them. And unfortunately for the Cavs though, when you put so much of an offensive load on one guy, how easy do you think that makes them to game plan against when they don't have a second backup option? This is why a lot of teams are just living with the Cavs shooting threes, because they will just throw the whole defense at Donovan Mitchell. This is what the Thunder did against them when they beat them recently by 30 points. This is what the Sixers did in the game in which Evan Mobley ended up hitting a game-winning dunk with 4 seconds left. But currently, they shoot the 3rd most threes a game, almost 42 a night, but they're middle of the pack, 15th in efficiency at 35.7%. Unfortunately, they haven't even gotten gotten a Max Strus game this year, and he is supposed to be one of their most reliable three-point shooters. Sam Merrill has been pretty good on the offensive end. He's also missed some time as well, and it just is not looking right. When you think about this core group of players, though, you want to build upon it. You already have Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. That's the two guys that this team is really looking to keep and to buy into. It's a possibility that they could either dish Jarrett Allen, who has had a down year, or you could get rid of Darius Garland, but the value of those two guys is just not going to be great. Some people have referred to this team even as soft for just being able to be bullied, and again, not having that energy guy to kind of shake things up when they need it, to kind of wake them up in the middle of a slump. And overall, this team is in just such a rough spot if things don't turn around quickly. What do you think about the Cleveland Cavaliers, though? I really like watching this team because you never really know what you're going to get, but that's also part of the scary part, is they should have at least some sort of floor, but when they're playing bad, just ugly to watch. I'm really hoping that they're able to figure this out. I really want this team to succeed. I want to see Donovan Mitchell make his appearance in the finals or something, because when he's playing at his best, and even in the playoffs especially, we've seen he has been a playoff riser. We've seen crazy runs from him since he was in Utah. He is one of the best guys that can put his team, especially that offense, on his back down the stretch of a playoff game. So if we could get that, if this Cavs team could figure it out, almost all of us NBA fans would just be ecstatic. Thank you for watching today's video. Drop a like if you haven't already. Please subscribe. I would appreciate it a lot. A lot of you guys that watch these videos are not subscribed, so please make sure to change that. Turn on that notification bell. If you do, you won't miss a new upload. As always, I will see you next time, homie.